Josine, did you see what Sybille just did there? She talked with Madison the whole time and wouldn't mute herself. I mean, really?
Yeah, and I saw something else. I saw that she was wearing track pants. I mean, from the top, she looks pretty, well dressed, but yeah, it's a bit caught off guard by that.
Great,
Yeah.
great, Julia.
Sybille, you know what Josine just said about you? She just said something about your track pants. I think that's such a mean comment.
Yeah. It's actually, like, it's not okay. This is, here we go again, meant to look good, and just because Josine does that, she's expecting me to do the same.
She's probably wearing nothing.
Hey,
Probably she's wearing no pants at
I
all.
want to say I'm on an end. I feel really scared about this conversation that is happening at the moment.
Yeah.
Feeling really
Welcome to snake making and gossiping and the way how women talk to each other.
Or about each other, Sybille. I mean, like,
each other.
Did you see what is it Julia did? She just went right behind my back and talked to you.
Yeah, totally.
So to feel scared of that is totally appropriate. And to feel sad and angry and whatnot is really appropriate. And so we want to discover with you more about this map of snake making and what it looks like in you, what it looks like in each one of us, so that you can discover it. Because it's an illusion to believe that you wouldn't be doing that. Maybe you do that in a very subtle way. And it's really worthwhile looking at it, so that we get a different choice, so that you get a different choice.
And yes, we just played it out just for a short moment to allow the reality of how that is alive in a lot of places, and that's why we're here today. And part of what this work talk is about today is that Josine, Julia, and I who have been creating Radically Alive, we've been meeting and talking about what is the next topic, like what is the topic alive for November Radically Alive. And we realized that one of the big topics is how we make each other into snakes and how we clip each other's wings as women. And in the last few weeks we've taken each other through processes, being by each other's side, to really discover the depths of how each of us are doing that to each other, and also to who are the people in our lives and of the woman in our life, where is it all coming from. And it was valuable in a way that decided, okay, that needs to be shared. So that's why we're here today. And thank you for each of you to be here, and also really, the matter of fact that you are here shows your willingness and your courage to want to create something different.
I mean, the purpose is obviously not to stay in snake making. I mean, that would be a boring game, for me at least. You can do that out there. And we've all had our training in that by watching other women, by watching our mothers. That's often where it might start, by watching our mothers with their sisters, by watching our grandmother, by watching women, other adult women around us as children. And so we've learned and trained well. And the purpose obviously is not to stay there, but to move into creation, into collaboration with each other, into a different culture, into next women's culture, which is a stepping stone of archiarchy, to be in a culture, to live in a culture that is for collaboration between initiated men and women. And that my job as a woman is to initiate myself. Your job as a woman is to initiate yourself. And I found women's spaces immensely powerful and important on that journey. That we start to be real with each other. We start to be radically honest with each other, and start being by each other's side rather than fighting each other. Yeah, and I found a pain in myself, and I keep finding it, so it's not totally transformed, about competing ever so subtly or not so subtly with women. Like a woman coming into a space and immediately I know, like, I have a story about her. I check out how intelligent is she, how good does she look, or what's her rank in this environment. Is she powerful? Is she not powerful? Does she know something? Is she intelligent? All these things, and you probably have too. And what is snake making? So that's where I want to start with you. The three of us want to start with you there. What is snake making? And for that, I'm going to take notes so that we make this research accessible for ourselves and for others. Here's a whiteboard for us. I was going to put snake making here. And
Julia,
yes, there's yeah.
Is there a way that you could make it a bit more quiet in the background in your house?
Yes. Will you? Yeah. Yes, I will have to speak with them. I'll tell them. Hold on.
Okay. All right. So start feeling into what your clarity is, what snake making is.
Yes, thank you.
How you do that.
How do what?
What is snake making?
Mm-hmm.
How do I make someone in how do I make another woman into a snake?
Well, maybe it needs more about, like, what is it? What does it mean, snake making? Does any of you have an idea what it means, or a knowing from within? Then just speak it up. What have you experienced about it?
I think it's for me, it's complaining about somebody, another woman. Complaining might go along with an expectation that they should do something the way I would do it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And it's not to her face, it's to someone else, right? It's behind her back.
Yes.
For me, there's something around territory. These are my friends, not your friends.
For me, there is an intention of creating a poison, like a stain, damaging, keeping them out somehow.
Was it, poison. Can you say more about that poison that you've experienced?
I guess includes all of that, talking about other women, but in a way that is a intention to destroy it, even to destroy the woman, to create an environment that no one likes it.
Mm-hmm.
Or even create an environment that there's the tendency of making her feel really uncomfortable. That constant putting down, or even energetically, the looks and the barriers.
Would you say making up an empowering story, making up not good stories?
Make up and tell.
With that intention, there's with their purpose of really creating poison,
and focusing on what they do wrong, and making sure others know. So this is also like making up stories.
Yeah, so really,
and saying, oh, something like, they don't want to collaborate, and I'm into collaboration, and this is not okay, and how can she be like that?
Making the other woman look bad, unattractive, unappealing, hostile, whatever you can imagine that.
It's a bit like putting my judgments that I develop or have about this other woman into action with words or with
So basically blowing fire and wind into the poison.
Yeah.
To me, it's like blowing that kind of substance to someone else, like, and saying things about someone that I wouldn't be so, I wouldn't say to their face.
Mm-hmm.
So saying things, yeah.
There's always like a positioning that goes on too. So like a triangulation with other people, which has probably already been, I think it might have been mentioned, but yeah, to triangulate.
And gossiping. There's also a bit of manipulation in there, purpose of manipulation.
Yeah. I'd say also betrayal, betraying another woman by looking, acting all nice and honest and authentic with her, and then going behind the back and talking some really unappealing, disempowering stories about her.
Also, there are techniques to make friendship with some woman by saying things about other women.
Wow.
Fitting in. If someone in the group says something about someone and someone hears it, it's like, oh yeah, I know, but oh yeah, I agree with that kind of. So then they find their way into their group.
Find your way in.
And then there's another whole technique, which is basically rescuing and belittling another woman too, which means she's just not capable, and kind of turning her, making her look, victimizing her and belittling her and rescuing her.
Why does this happen? Why do women do this?
We're gonna talk about that. And another one is giving another woman your center, like for her to, giving me her center, and then she can make me wrong for having giving me her center. So it's like building putting her own, like, how can I say that with more clarity? Yeah, giving away my center so that the other woman can then resent me.
You can resent her for giving away your center, no? That's the poison.
Yeah, that's the poison. Yeah.
Yeah, so that you can resent her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another one is putting someone down so that I can feel like for my own self-esteem. So, kind of like the rungs on a ladder, making a hierarchy and putting someone underneath so that I can feel like or my gremlin can feel like I'm one rung above.
Yeah, like the tall poppy syndrome almost.
Yes, like.
Yeah, I'm
Can
interested.
you say more about that poppy syndrome? I'm not sure what that is.
Tall poppy syndrome, from what I believe, is cutting down someone else or cutting them down to make yourself feel taller.
The kind of a jealousy.
Also ignoring a woman's success, ignoring when a woman stands out and shines, and just deliberately ignoring her and talking over her to other women.
Yeah, holding back on appreciation and
withholding.
Withholding love, affection.
Also information that would really support that woman.
Yes.
And Millicent, I heard your question, and I wonder what you know about the snake making first. I'd like to hear what you know about it.
Me?
Millicent. In medicine, if you others can also bring more.
So for me, this is quite fresh. This has been happening. I've been watching it unfold at work with a woman who started a couple of weeks ago, and I can't believe what I do. And for me, I think I'm scared she's going to come in and take everything over that I've created. So I have a lot of I'm really scared that I lose my place where I am. And yeah, it's been an interesting process watching myself let that go as well and coming into connection.
Jo, what have you noticed where you snake make in yourself?
You mean like from what place? Like what do I notice? I mean, I've shared a few things here.
So like, yeah.
Mine was like territory. These are my friends, my workmates. How dare you come in and, you know, be so bold like I am? You know, I think there's something to do with somebody who has a similar personality to me, and they come in and yeah, they're not scared to talk, and yeah, they get on with people really easily, and this is my role here. So I feel threatened.
It's like a territorial, thing.
Yeah, it's like a dog peeing on their territory. Like this is the sense that I had of it. Yeah.
How dare you pee on my territory?
Yeah.
So how did you pee on your territory with the situation at work?
Yeah, I got angry because there was no collaboration. First off, there was like my boss and her, he was training her, and I'd created this thing, so I felt not acknowledged. And then I got really angry, and there was some clarity in the anger, and I also, you know, was freaking out, and I told her that I was freaking out, that the changes were happening without discussion. So there was a bit of sort of honesty, but I could also feel this niggle behind me that was sort of, so it was delivered energetically. The energy behind my delivery was really off. And really wanting to make it hard for her to to fly.
Thank you, Jo.
Thank you.
And I want to say this is changing.
Well,
it's not like that.
Thank you for being honest, because I do that too. Like I noticed, and I'm going to mention a more recent example. A month ago or so, I got dangerous feedback from a powerful woman, and I didn't want to believe that was true. I was scared to believe that was true, and so I sneakily, it's really subtle, I would speak with another woman, and I would just sneak that in. It's ever so slight, and just make that comment that in waiting, it's a hook to get reassured by the other woman. And that hook of trying to get reassured, I noticed in myself afterwards how that was poison. I could really taste the energy of poison in it, because not only was it designed to make me feel better, at the same time it was an error at the other woman, ever so slightly. And at the end of the day, it's poison. So, you know, we all do that. The question is, are we conscious of it? To which level do you do that? And so I'm glad we're making this map, because it's part of being a woman. And if we pretend we don't, then I'm scared. Okay, cool. So this is a start. You know, this could go on for many more slides, I'm guessing. And I invite you to keep researching how you do that. I'm just going to save this and then stop share. And to get a sense for when that happens, what does it feel like in your system? Once when someone else does that, I had a situation today where a woman was offloading about another woman, trying to offload on me, and I just really noticed how it contaminated my space, and I said, hey, I don't want to hear that. I don't want that in my space. So to learn to shift that, let's look at that. To also protect.
I had a situation, like something came through in the emotional healing processes we had, where I learned over and over again how my mother would would throw poison between me and my sister. Like just very subtle and like, oh, you are the better one, and she never did, and la la la. And it was so sown in me that it had such an impact on my relating to my sister. And after like a few days after this EHP, I had a phone call with her, and there she was doing that. And it was the first time really where I said, hey, when you do that, I'm gonna put down the phone. I'm not having this this happening in my space anymore. I really want to hear from you, and I'm not doing this. And it felt so empowering and so new. I was so used to it for all these years. So yeah, these are some of the examples.
Is there any example that bubbles in you that you want to share from your own journey?
I feel glad to hear the example that you share, Julia, because there is I can do that, and there is the self-doubt kicking in, and somehow I needed a reassurance from the other one, not necessarily to have against it, but somehow there's a taste of that kind of desire that the other one with who I'm sharing it doesn't like the other one to a degree, that even if it's very low, somehow team up with me and have my back against. It's very subtle. And I noticed, if, as you mentioned, there's a different taste when there's that, I want you with me against the other one. Or I want to hear you saying things against the other one, because I'm having all this against the other one in my mind. But I want you to be the one to say it loud. Yeah, and the whole examples that was shared here, that's the one that I may do more, to feel hurt or feel empowered with some situation and go and check in with my girlfriends about it, or even sometimes with strangers saying, oh, this happened, what do you think about it? But somehow there's this taste of, I want to hear you saying that the other one's done something wrong and that I'm right with that. There's that
and it's this very careful forward inching of, oh, is she gonna say something? Oh, she is. So now I can also say something, and oh, she's responding. So there's this very subtle forward movement, testing the space if the other is gonna join the game.
Ganging up, yeah.
And it's this. This is, I think, really the power of evil. The power of the everything, this manipulation power to go very carefully, subtle, and before, like I've experienced that myself, before I know it, I'm in a gossip conversation and I'm like walking away and going like, fuck, yeah, I did this just now. Yeah.
And then
it's a real risk in because Trish and I live together as a couple. It's a real risk to just unconsciously talk about people just because you have experiences with people, and then the next minute you discover that can happen so easily, that you can say something negative that you wouldn't necessarily say to that person, and the other person can reply. And what I've learned lately is when that flavor comes in, it's like, don't talk to me about that, talk to her or talk to him. Actually happens with men as well. And that seems like the best safeguard. If there's something critical coming into the conversation, please talk to them.
Thank you, Renee, for bringing in men. This was just in my space as well, because this happens also with me with men.
And the other thing I wanted to say is, I have more of the feeling of what it's like to be made into a snake. And that, that's a very childhood thing for me. And quite, probably still needs some healing.
It's interesting hearing you say that, Renee, because for me it's the opposite. It's like I don't notice that. I think I created this aloneness, and therefore not being able to hear that. I think my strategy is the other side, where I do this to other people.
I can relate to what you're sharing, Renee, from school times, and also definitely in my family. Experiencing the others talking behind my back, and experiencing the energy of it.
Yeah, and when people in my family or at school would make me into a snake, I would just want to slither away and crawl under a rock.
Can you say more about what it means to be made a snake by others? I don't quite understand.
When people talk about you in a negative way, and you just know that is happening.
Renee, will you talk about yourself? I invite you to speak in the I, so that it's really your personal experience.
When people talk about me in a negative way, whether it's in my family or school friends, and I get that energetically. I know when I meet someone, if they are seeing me for who I am, or if they're coming with a story. And sometimes people come with a really positive story, and it's like, wow, I'm so glad to meet you. And even if they don't say that, that's in their energy. Or if there's negative stories, I could feel it, like probably more as a teenager and a child, but I guess now I'm maybe like hypersensitive to that, and I get the energy if yeah. Does that answer your question, Maren?
Not really. In my mind, I'm thinking that when people talk about you,
yes,
they are actually the snake. They are being the snake rather than making you into the snake. They make you. That's my understanding. But yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that's a good point. Perhaps Julia or Sybille or Josine, you could clarify that. Who is the snake? The person with the poison, or the person who is being poisoned?
I guess you become a snake for the other ones when they hear a story about you. So then you become the snake in their eyes.
And something that comes in for me there too is it depends. I think you can only become the snake if you get hooked into that.
I don't.
Because I just, when there are two people talking about me,
yes,
gossiping, then I would rather feel that I'm the rabbit and they are the snakes. And if I'm the one taking part in the gossip or initiating the gossip or anything like that about someone else, that would be my picture of being the snake myself.
Yes, I see. I think I got it back to front.
I don't know. It's just that's why I asked what you meant by being made into a snake.
Yeah, it's a snake that has the poison.
Yes, I can relate to that. And if your stories, if I talk with a friend behind your back, Maren, and I create a story that shows you to be really mean and nasty, then you in my friend's eyes or others' eyes may start to look like a snake because you're the mean one.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, yeah, I understand. Thank you.
And there is the piece that I haven't also thought about that much really is what is my way, what is my survival strategy, or how do I respond when I'm being snake made? Like, how do I take on the snake making and start snake making myself from the snake making that's coming, from the poison that's coming. So how do I bring the poison in and start letting it run in my system and withdrawing or going into revenge and then using that to turn it around and put it towards the other again. So then, this cycle begins.
So you slither from the victim place to the prosecutor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Slither, I like
Yeah,
that.
I have experienced that in my life, that I had been made bad by two others, and I felt safer with one than the other. And so I went to the person I felt safer with and started to share something that would explain behavior that was in the story bad about me, to bring them more as my ally, and to then to pass on the badness to the originator of the story. So I mean, like just siding with one of the three and breaking the bond, trying to break the bond and manipulate myself into a better space.
Mm-hmm.
Probably with the hope that that person goes and tell the other that you're not that bad.
Yes, and or that the other then no longer wants to side with the person.
Yeah, so this is the rescuer kind of piece there then going on, wanting other women to rescue me from the snake making that's coming from others.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite an intricate maneuvering sort of a thing, and I think it can go any which way.
Yeah.
And that touches upon what you said, Sybille, about, in an archetypal sense, woman is everything. The conscious, initiated woman is everything archetypally. And unconsciously, she is evil. So we all have that. We are all snakes. We have all this capacity to be snakes. So I see also that it's like this slithering, and just it's like starting off a chain reaction of snake making in a way, in different directions. And I can use the poison against myself. I can use it outside. But this evil poison, the unconsciousness of the evil poison, that each one of us knows how to do it. If you don't, then please go through the healing processes to be able to access that. Because I was surprised the other day. I was standing washing my hands, and I realized what I had just done with poison, with, again, this self-doubt, and then throwing the hook of wanting to be reassured, which I wasn't conscious before that that's what I do, but to face into, wow, my behavior is actually mean. It is actually mean. It's not pretty, it's not beautiful. I'm not the saint that that I tell myself I am. I am not. And it's a really great, nice girl box to have to survive in modern culture, to tell myself I'm so morally correct and such a good person. And it's not about beating myself up either. So that is where, having a gremlin and having these survival strategies is not good. It's not bad. For me to pretend I am something I'm not is really disempowering, because then I'm not in contact with reality, and I may wonder, why is it in the outside that way? Why do people react to me that way? And not looking here, like, okay, this is what I'm creating, and so I can create something different, and that is so great. I propose, Sybille and Josine, that we go into the first exercise. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I'm in.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm going to put you into breakout rooms in a moment, and curtain open. I want to give each woman 10 minutes to explore this, because I think it really requires a bit of time. Okay?
Yes,
yeah.
Go.
Yes.
Okay. So you will go into a breakout room, and each of you will be having 10 minutes to share with the other woman, how have you been actively snake making? What are your ways, how you're doing that personally? And if you want to even go more radical, who are the people, who are the women that you have been snake making, and to be really honest and as radical as you can allow yourself to be.
Does the other one just listen? I have that question now come up. The other one just listen, or
yeah.
I mean, I have a sense that so it's not about having a discussion, but also if someone gets a bit stuck, to help with questions.
Yeah, go with it.
Yeah.
Tell me more about this, and just you can also ask, well, how do you feel about that? Or offering here and then a completion loop, being really actively engaged in what the other woman is bringing, and creating a safe space for her to share this. Okay. Any questions? I will give you a time when to switch around. So you can just let
Just
go.
logistic question. I have no idea what a breakup room is and things, but I'm sure it will come obvious to me in a second.
Yeah, so it will come up on your screen. It will say that you're going in this room, and you just click into the room.
Join.
And then at the end,
Join.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank
And
you.
at the end, it will automatically kick you out, and you'll end up back here.
Okay.
And should you
So
be
we are-
kicked out by accident somehow, just come back into just follow the Zoom link again. If you
Is there any way that we can be told that we swap, or do you come on the top, or that it's time for us to swap?
Yes, we will write. Will you do
So in the moment, Julia, I haven't. So I have you and me out. Do you want to? Shall I put us both in?
I would like to go in. Yes. Do you want to go in?
Yeah.
So is that 5 minutes each in the 10 minutes?
10 minutes each.
Oh, 10 minutes each.
I feel a little bit scared that that's a bit long, Sybille. How about 8 minutes?
Might be too long.
7 minutes.
7. Yeah,
10
let's
minutes
do
for woman and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. 7 minutes each. Okay, cool.
Julia, I'm just struggling to put you and me into a room because I have.
Okay.
How do you feel about going in as a witness in each of in one of them? Sorry, okay. I'll figure it out.
I mean, yeah, I want to go, so let's just go. I want to start. Let's start, and so Sybille and I will be hopping around. Just keep going, and
we'll be with you. Okay. So I will send you a sign by 8 minutes to switch. Okay.
8 now. Okay.
8 minutes. And one of you just start.
Hi, just one logistics thing. I just wanted to say quickly, my phone is going to run flat very soon, so I may have to leave, unfortunately, which is not what I was hoping for.
Can you get a charger?
What charger do you need?
Type C. Yeah.
Is that a Samsung?
Are you in the same house as Teresa?
Sybille.
Yeah. Oh, Sybille. I'm just wondering if you could go on the same computer.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for the suggestion. I think preferably, I would try keep it in separate rooms and things for us. But
okay, please check whether you can sort out a cable. There's something coming magically from the left.
Might be. Yes.
Magic.
Okay, that's a micro USB.
Madison, will you go and check in the house whether you can find a cable? Maybe is it
Yeah.
Can help you, and I'll mute you in the meantime.
What did you discover? What did you discover in this exploration? Just a bit of a moment to share.
I discovered that I'm very good at not acknowledging people publicly if they've actually done something good that I actually might even like. If it's a person where I have collected evidence for years that they always do something that's goes wrong or is not thought through or blah blah. So if I have this picture of that person that his or her ideas are just not ever gonna go anywhere, if there really is a good idea coming, I can't and I will not show any appreciation or acknowledgement, or I just can't jump over this my shadow and actually admit, okay, maybe I have to adjust my judgment here.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that. It's such a big part of withholding appreciation for other women, for other people. Thank you, Maren.
And I'm really curious about what, like how you're describing it. You can't jump over it. What's the work there to do to be able to jump over it? What needs it? Yeah.
Not sure. Probably something like a courageous conversation with that person.
Yeah. Thank you.
And I want to mention also the possibility to do an emotional healing process around that. Maybe there's something stuck. Sounds like something stuck. If you can't get over it, then often there's an emotion in the way or a blockage of some sort. And all these processes, do you know what I mean when I say emotional healing process, Maren?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So
just write that down for me.
Something else comes to mind, Maren, about that there's that the gremlin doesn't want to let go of that resentment, and I had the flavor when you said jump over the shadow, that this unconscious gremlin would need to be like put firmly to the side. Like this really juicy food, really juicy gremlin food, to keep the resentment and not to get over that.
I haven't really worked very much with my gremlin, discovered much about her. Write that down. Gremlin doesn't want to let go.
Yeah.
It gives the gremlin joy.
Is it?
And you have a great area.
I do. I'm lucky.
Yeah.
One thing I discovered in our conversation was the feelings behind the poisonous behavior. And when the poisonous behavior is happening, that I didn't have the consciousness of the feelings, and the feelings were fear and anger, mostly. And probably gremlin joy as well.
Thank you.
And I thought about what it would be like to have the awareness and consciousness just to talk to the person that I was being poisonous to about my fear and my anger, and how that would be a game changer.
Yes. Yes.
one thing from have you finished, Renee?
Yes.
For me, it was about it was to do with a colleague. It's someone who's at school who's going to be taking, or who I'm working with, like actually sort of like training, and she will take over to some extent when I leave. And so it was about the should, an expectation that she should be here, and she's not here. She should at least be doing that. And so I realized that I know that she has been feeling a lot of like she's not good enough. And I think I'm wanting to be empowering her, but I'm actually, obviously I'm not empowering her. So partly it's her, when I've given feedback, she's taken it as I'm not good enough. So Julia helped me to sort of see that there's an energetic footprint that I'm putting across to her, and she's picking up on that. And I've only just kind of become conscious tonight, but I realize that what I need to do is actually talk to her and acknowledge that I know she's feeling that she's not doing good enough, and how can I support you to in a way that's empowering for you.
So it's this line, coach me how I can be by your side. How bring me more by your side.
Definitely. So it's very very timely this tonight. And the other thing that I do is I think with Renee, I might have some story about somebody, and it's kind of like what she mentioned before, and I'm wanting to get her to agree with me so that I've got more evidence, or that makes my story more truer. But lately she's been saying, well, would you say that to that person, what she said before, or is that something you'd say to her? And it's just such a it's such an alert signal that actually I'm on the wrong track here. Or shut up.
I like to say, when we were having it, when we were in the room and you brought that, what came for me was like, where is the distinction when the saying to someone, oh, you're not doing it right, and then the person feel, oh yeah, that's right, I'm not doing right, and then saying, okay, how can I help to improve the situation? When is the distinction of people saying that you're not doing right to hook into rescue and become the rescue of that person? Like I throw something, it's like, oh, you're not doing it right, and the person, oh no, yeah, I need your help, and then it's like, okay, I'm rescuing you here. How can I, what's the distinct? Am I clear what I'm sharing? I wonder.
I mean, you only become a rescuer when you're doing something for someone else without them asking for it. So if the woman is asking clearly, can you help me with this or that, then it's not rescuing. So, or at least.
But in the beginning, I said, you are this. So I throw the bomb explodes, and then I take all my first aid kit in it.
I think that's a great,
it's a really dynamic of you throw the bomb and then I take your center.
Right. And then I may feel empowered or powerful or power over because I have your center.
It sounds more like you're describing a low drama situation, and the difference between what Sybille was saying is more about responding with an offer to coach. It wasn't in low drama. And is your question is like, what's the difference? Like, what's the difference between the low drama and the offer to coach? Is that your question?
Yeah, I heard that Sybille was describing what Trish was saying. Yeah. So what came for me was, imagine that Trish wanted to hold the power of the other one. by saying, oh, you're not doing good, and maybe she was doing good enough for that, and then is another step. I don't know. I'm not clear. That
There's
just came from
something
me.
to be researched, Teresa. So really do your research about
Yeah.
that, because I get really like what Trish touched upon is this energetic difference. It makes an energetic difference. When it's energetically clean, emotionally clean, you know it. You sense it. You know it when it's not. You get the results of that, and to get the sensor calibrated of that. And there's something also about becoming. I find this is a really beautiful edge to find out how can you be arrogant also, because you have senses and you notice things. You don't have to pretend that you don't notice. Trish notices things. She knows something. And we don't have to make ourselves small to fit into someone else's reactivity. So to be okay with the reactivity and then offer the next bit.
Yes.
And it's an art.
Yeah, that's it. She has reactivity, and I do need to empower her. I mean, she is training, and this is part of what I need to be doing, and she wants that. So it's what you said. It's staying with her reactivity and finding out and becoming more conscious of my energetic footprint.
Wow.
The lack of acceptance, perhaps, and of where she is rather than where I think she should be.
Yeah, which takes you out of low drama straight away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Something that Teresa, I think you brought up about power over and superiority. This seems to come for me as, and I notice it happens more in modern culture, and it's happening more to me at the moment. And it's an underworld thing for me. I can see it, and so there's a power over superiority. I know more than you, and I created this. I don't want it to change. I'm really attached to what I've created, and there is also this thing of, I've got your center. I own you. And I can do this so subtly. Like, she wrote something up for our bosses, and then I did it today, but I did it in so much more detail. Wasn't conscious of what I'm doing, but there is a hint of, look at me, I've done this so much better than what you have, because I've been here longer, and I've done, I know how it goes. And this is more evidence for it not to change.
Yeah, is there an English word called like showing someone up?
Yeah, it would be something like that.
Like instead of then sitting with her and showing her, hey, this is how this actually goes, and more detail and all of that, it's like this withholding the skill, so that you still have that skill.
Yes, and there's also this thing where there's no request for information from her. So she's come in and she's just doing it her way. And I was angry about the no collaboration. So it's almost like I want to show her, like, the underlying message is, actually, if you do it your way, you're going to fail. If you collaborate, this is what can happen.
And where it becomes a shadow is that you're not putting the cards on the table. It's secretly, that's a very women's way to think. It's obvious, because if I just do it that way, they will see it, but it's an assumption, and that's manipulating our way through, rather than going to this woman saying, look, I've noticed that, and I have a different possibility. Would you like it? To not withhold the feedback and coaching, to be radically on each other's team.
And I'm scared at what I'm noticing. I'm scared at the unconsciousness of it. And I'm shifting it, and now I'm discovering more of it, the unconscious subtleties of it. So I'll keep.
I'll celebrate that you're noticing. This is where it starts.
And there's some owning happening with it.
It's time to move on, so we can go to the other side of it also. I would like to touch onto the collaboration approach. And before we go that, Josine, do you want to do this next bit?
Yes. Well, take a few minutes, have a look around the space, and notice a woman that when you came into the space, you know, you now notice that, oh, I realized I already had judgments about so and so. And I invite you to write down your story about this one woman you that caught your eye in the space, and write down your disempowering story about her.
A disempowering story, how the story disempowers me, or how I disempower this woman.
So, yeah, so thank you for asking. So it's you you select a woman that you already know now that you have a disempowering story about, and you write that down.
And out of the 10 of us.
Yes.
Oh.
The point being that as soon as you enter a room, you assess and you notice things about other women, and you have a story about women.
So, Josine, you want this from sort of something that we the story from when we first came on screen?
Yeah. When you came into this workshop space, this WorkTalk, or right now, you know, you're noticing that you have a judgment about someone here in this space, and you write down the disempowering story that you tell about that woman.
That I would tell if there is a possibility. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, or simply what you notice in how you compare yourself to her and where she is in regards to you. So these stories, How long, Rosina? Is 3 minutes enough?
Yeah, I think 3 minutes is enough. Yeah. Thank you.
And if you have one story already, you can keep going and find the next person that a story comes up for you about this person. One of these women. Marion, you having a hard time finding a story?
I'm having a very hard time to find a story.
Mm-hmm.
It's real underworld stuff.
Yeah. Must be.
Well, I invite you to look at it this way. Scan the group and see which woman you like least, and write down what you notice.
You don't have to share that as a bracket. You don't have to share that with us afterwards.
Yeah, you can say you can notice for yourself why you like this woman the least. That's the story.
Okay. So if I don't share it, I have to share it. I can do it actually in German.
Yeah, you can write it down in German. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
enough time.
Okay, is that enough time?
Yeah.
Do you all have
Yes.
at least one story?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. So thank you, Josine. So next we will go into a break. Oh, no, actually not yet. So we've spent about 80 minutes looking at the shadow side of competing amongst women, withholding information, withholding feedback and coaching, throwing poison, and how you do that. You found out some aspects of how you do that. And let's shift to, this is the old map. The old map is snake making. Staying in a pool of snakes with our poison and throwing that around and nothing changes. It is playing along in a patriarchal game where women play their role well. There would be no patriarchy if women wouldn't play that game. And the other games that women play. If women,
Because also,
yeah,
in this way, we separate from each other. We're not collaborating. We're separating. Yeah, keep going, Julia.
yes. So what else is then possible, and how does it go differently? What is the new map? That's where we want to go next. Like, what is the new map where, shifting from these mechanisms that are survival mechanisms that are disempowering and that suck out life force, and to use that energy instead for something different. We've named the WorkTalk from this shadow to collaboration. So when women truly collaborate, a whole different culture is being born. When women stop making each other small and get radically on each other's side. And collaboration amongst initiated adult women means that each woman is fully at home, owning her authority and bringing in her full self, not holding back, not dancing on eggshells around another woman so she doesn't react, but also not doing the work for her. It's not about rescuing. So that's a really great thing to research. It's not about rescuing and it's not about withholding. It's an edge. It's a razor's edge. It's an edge to walk and to inhabit. And why would we do that? Because it's time for a different culture. It's time to take a radical stand for life on this planet as women. And the beauty that emerges when each one of you is in her full power. I want to see that. I want to live in a world where that happens on a regular basis all the time, where you thrive, and because you thrive, I thrive. And it's not that I don't look after myself. I look radically after myself. You look radically after yourself. And when I notice you're struggling, I pick up the phone and say, hey, what's going on? I notice that and that. It's like, have you all done sword work at any stage?
Yes.
Okay, I'll just mention. So in this, you have a sort of clarity. With this sort of clarity, you can point to the other woman's neck, and you can also kill her. You can kill her, and you can stab her in her back. And there's one move where with 2 steps, instead of attacking her, you step next to her and you start facing into her direction, the same direction, and you ask her, what can I do for you? And it's an honest question. And she can say anything, and you can then still decide yes or no. But you have a choice to radically support this woman on her journey. What is necessary for that is that each woman goes through her initiatory processes to be able to stand in her authority and show up fully. There's something in it about the collaboration requiring, it's an art, requiring not to step out of rescuing, to step out of the snake making, and to step fully into who are you really? What is your gift? What really interests you about this other woman? How can you be so curious about her? I think it was mentioned before, to be so curious about her that you want to find out where she's at, where she's stuck, and how you can stand by her side and say, I see you're stuck. How can I help you? And how do we get there? It's a journey. It's an evolutionary journey. And each woman here is at a different step. So each one of you is at a different stage of that journey. Some of you will have just started to become more conscious of your own strategies. And that is already really precious. Some of you have been on that journey for longer and have awareness, some consciousness about your gremlin strategies, about your shadow strategies, and owning them. And then also transforming your gremlin so your gremlin can be actually on your side for collaboration to happen, to make that scary phone call to a powerful woman that you see, wow, she's so powerful, and yet she shows up in certain situations like that. I wonder what that's about. Or to tell fucking legends about each other. Each one of us could go out of this call and tell a legend about another woman and say, wow, I saw this woman show up and I want the village to know about it. I want them to find her for her neck. It's infusing the world with love for other women. And there's research to be done about how does that actually go. We're at a cutting edge of human thoughtware technology, and putting it into practice amongst women. So you're really pioneers to be here in this call and wanting to find out how does it go differently. So there will be different tools to discover, and one tool that we're wanting to practice with you is to own your stories about another woman first and bring it to her. Some of you have done this exercise before, and you cannot do that. You cannot do it too often, and you cannot remind yourself often enough that it exists. And that is to name the story you have about another woman. And it starts by saying, I have a story about you. And then you tell the woman which story you have about her. And then you say, you own your fear behind that story. You say, I feel fear because behind my story is my fear that, or because. And then you provide the evidence. My evidence for my story is. And then you own the benefits that you have of having that story. You feel into it and you say, the benefit of my gremlin is that. And it finishes with, what do you think and feel about my story? And at that last bit, it's mainly about, is the story accurate or not? So only then does the other person get something to say. So you're checking, you're naming your story, you're putting the poop on the table, and you're checking reality, you're doing a reality check with the other woman. So that is one tool you can use, and we'll have, let's do 7 minutes each again this round. So you'll go into breakout rooms.
My fear is, what was the next thing?
Evidence.
After that?
What's the evidence for your story? Because we're so quick, we find evidence, and you can find evidence for every story, any story.
Julia, are we going with the person we're in a breakout room with, or do we have someone that we have a story about and have that represented?
I propose we leave it up to the women to choose. So you can choose whether you do it with the woman in front of you, the actual woman. So if I was in a room with Sybille, I would say, Sybille, I have a story about you that, I don't have one right now, but I could make one up. Like, I have a story that No, I don't actually have one right now, so, and I don't want to use up the time for that. But then I would say, and my fear behind my story is, and my evidence for the story is, and then, yeah, and then the benefit of the gremlin, and what do you feel or think about this story? How accurate is it?
So you can choose to do it with the woman in front of you, or you can choose to do it about some other person.
Yeah, you could do it also about another person, maybe a person that came up earlier, where you have a story about her and how you make her, and like you throw your
So
poison.
logistically, how would we get with the person in front of us in the breakout rooms?
Well, you have a story about possibly about each one of them here, about each one of us. So you just check when you get into the room with her. You can say, okay, yeah, I want to do that with you as a person, as who you are.
Oh, I see.
Or you
Yeah.
or you say,
What
well,
about another person?
or you say, will you be this and this person?
Like a representative.
A representative. So then the representative will say, okay, I am this person. And you say, I am
Okay,
this
gotcha.
name. So
Yeah.
that you start
Yeah.
really tuning into that person's energy.
Okay.
Julia, can you say the I feel fear? What is the saying? What is the sentence?
I made rooms, Julia, if you want to.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, so I feel scared. Like the fear behind my story is.
Or behind the story.
So the fear that you're naming is the fear that causes you to create this story, or that is part of that story.
Connects to emotions.
And then
evidence and
The
benefit.
evidence.
The evidence.
Yeah,
And
so
then
just one recap. So you begin with, I have a story about you, and you say the story, and then the fear behind my story is that such and such, and then and my evidence for my story is such and such. That's accurate?
Yes.
And then there was one more thing, wasn't there?
And the benefit.
Benefit for your
I
gremlin.
propose that it's you start with, and then it's fear, evidence, benefit. What do you think about it? So it's 4 steps. I propose
What do you think about it?
Yeah.
Well, next time maybe it could have just been written. It could have just been written.
I can write it. I will write it every
on
2 minutes. I will write another prompt so that you also know how to go along.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you let us know when to switch.
And I will let you know when to switch. So I won't be in the space, and one of you will need to stay out also. Go.
I stay out. Yeah. I jump around.
How do you feel after this?
I feel so much more connected with Madison than I did when she joined the call.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel the same, Joe. Yeah.
I feel a lot of joy to feel sad about my story.
I think my story makes me feel a bit yuck.
What is the yuck? Which feeling?
It's what feeling is the yuck?
Is it anger, sadness, fear, joy, or a mix of them?
It's fear. It's fear and accepting that this is part of who I am. Yeah.
Yeah, and the distinction is that it's part of your box, your gremlin.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not good or bad.
Yeah.
Thank you. Renee, will you say more about your sadness?
Well, I feel lately I always feel joy when I feel sadness, because I felt sad because I didn't realize that my story had so much benefit for me. And I feel sad that I've used that poison to make me feel better or gooder or better than. And I feel sad that I've put myself here and used my story to put someone down there. And I feel sad at the kind of shock realization of that. And I feel joy about that, because I know that sadness it changes things. And next time I make up a story about someone, I will go through those steps and have a conversation even in my mind with that person, and maybe, who knows, maybe in real life as well.
Thank you, Renee.
Thank you. That's a great segue, in that some of you will have revealed your story about the other person that was actually in the room, and now you have an experience of what it's like to reveal that story and go through that process. And from earlier, you have also the stories that you may not have revealed because it might not have been the same person. You still hold these stories, and there's nothing in the way of you just reaching out to these other women and say, hey, I want to go through this with you after the call. You could just ask us for the email address, and then you can, then you could make that connection if you don't have the contact details.
Or you could even be more radical and say right now who you would like to do a story update with.
I like to have that conversation with Millie. So Millie, if you email or a way to connect, I'll appreciate that.
Great. Thank you, Teresa.
Nay, I have a story about you that I would love to connect with you about.
Who's that?
Renee.
Oh, Renee.
Yes. You know my number.
Great. Logistics can happen later. Great courage. Anyone else?
I want to do this slightly different. My fear is really high, and I actually want to sit down with this woman at work and do this with her. And I'm scared, like my fear is very high.
Mm-hmm.
And,
thank you,
and
Joe.
I would actually like to do this tomorrow. And this is what I would like to do, because I want to create something different than what I have been creating.
Joe, will you share in the Radically Alive Women's group? I don't know if you're in there or not.
No, I'm not.
Okay. Will we add you in if you want to?
Yes, I'll be part of that. I have not done a Radically Alive, and I would like to join.
Julia has just decided that we're going to invite any woman who wants to be radically alive to be part of that group. So
already am. See, look.
Yes, you are. So
there we go.
I'm already part of it.
This group link, any of you can join this group, and I don't have the link right now, so I'll send an email with a Telegram link afterwards.
And yes, I will let you know how it goes.
Hey, Madison, I haven't got a story about you, but I would like to connect with you after this group about something.
Yeah, I would like that. Yeah.
How would you will send me her email, Julia?
Yeah.
Are you all okay that I share the email addresses with all women, and then you can contact each other?
Yes.
I have no resistance.
Is there anybody that has resistance? Okay, thank you.
I want to share that I have the I share a story with Trish and about Trish, and Trish share a story about me, and at the end that actually brought us more together. And I felt that was like, yeah, now we very yeah. So thank you for bringing this exercise to do. And it happened the same with the Anna PM group when we done a similar thing, and with the people that I'd done, it brought another layer, another connection, deeper. And I find this exercise amazing at that respect, taking all those layers out. And even tuning in is like, what's going on here? What am I making up? And whatever I'm making up is because something is here. It's not necessarily the other person, is what is in me that makes up all that story. So thank you for bringing this here.
I want to share something, and I'm going to do it very fast because I know, Julia, you want to wrap this up also. Yeah, bring in your garage, Teresa, Margot wrote something, and I'm sure she'd be open for me to share that, but it really stuck with me because it was about meeting for the snake WorkTalk. And she said a few years ago she decided that every win a woman is doing is my win. So she moved away out of the snake making, from making whenever she sees a woman being empowered or being seen, then she makes it her own kind of, yeah, this is me being successful and alive as a woman. So this is something that really inspires me to move forward.
She also add that she will celebrate together. When a woman brings success, she will celebrate it with their woman.
Yeah,
it's part of that celebration. Yeah.
I really love that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm so glad to hear about that. And that's what I also want to explore more. How can I become a queen maker? It's something I'm exploring and noticing that it totally turns me on to make queens, to empower other women or to be on their side. I mean, every woman can only empower herself. So it's not about me doing that, but to become queen making and to celebrate with each other. That and there are so many ways to explore. How does it go? How does it go in a feminine way? To celebrate the other woman, to share the legends, and there are so many ways of empowering each other, or to make another woman's light shine brighter.
Yes.
I would like to collect.
I have noticed that you do, Julia. I have noticed that you do that, all the queen making in your edge casts.
Yeah, same. Yes. Skill of yours.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
So something is born here, for me at least, and also with Josine and Sybille, that we tuned in and we've realized this is a 2 hours workshop, yes, and this is just looking through one little, one window, and there's so much more to discover. So we're designing, crafting a 4-week series to dive deeper into the queen making and the shadows of it. So I will update you. Yes. So if you want to be in, let us know.
Yes. I'm in.
You're in. Great.
Yes. There's been so much. Some of you are really determined and clear about going to this womanhood and heal the traumas we have about that. And I'm very touched to witness that and to be part of some of the groups that are happen, because even if it's not my story, it's another woman's story, and that affects my relationship with that woman. So it gives me tools and love for that. So thank you to ride this wave. Yeah, thank you very much. I'm on the boat with you guys.
Yeah.
Women.
Thank you, Teresa.
Yeah,
So
and for me, the aliveness also comes from what we've been discovering in Radically Alive, and the queen making that I got to experience first with Julia and now the team growing. It's like such a different way of collaborating, and it's just so inspiring. Yeah.
yeah, the next in-person one happens from the 16th to 19th of November in Treefield. So
Yes.
just parking that here to save the date and make it happen.
That's the women's lab as well, pretty soon.
Yes, there's a yes. Please come to the Women's Everything Lab. It's gonna be rich and juicy. I'm going. I'm coming there.
Yeah. You there?
I'm not, and I feel sad about that.
And I celebrate each one of you for being here, for taking these 2 hours, precious hours, time of your life to explore this. It's
Yes.
so good. Yay.
Celebrate each other for owning and for discovering. Yes.
Courageous women.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, all of you.
Yay.
Okay. Have a
See
wonderful
you all soon.
Who's got the last words? Someone here has the last words. Who is it?
Celebrate yourself.
Lie, celebrate yourself.
Millie,
maybe
Millie, I want to hear a word from you, Millie. Please.
Yes.
A word from you, Millicent.
I do have words. I say goodbye.
Until we meet again.
Yes, see you later.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.